They stack Ray behind Debo left. Jimmy back. Jimmy time. Jimmy throws. It is caught. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Got a long career ahead of me, so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the opportunities to come. I just want to go to a place where they want to win. And that's really what I'm in this game for. I'm here to play football, here to win football games. And as long as I got that and good people around me, I think the rest will take care of itself. And yeah, I'll miss you guys. Faithful, thank you very much for everything. It's been crazy, man. Just all the comebacks at Levi's, comebacks on the road, ups and downs. It's been a hell of a ride, guys. So see ya.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook is live here on Bettor Sports Network. A whole mess of sports to talk about for the next couple of hours. We are powered by FantasyAlarm.com. My name is Justin Fensterman. His name is Adam Ronis. What you just heard there, Jimmy Garoppolo, thanking everyone, sending the pleasantries along as he is going to be throwing for a new team next season, the Vegas Raiders. Adam Ronis called that the other day on this very show, Rowan. And look at you, man, the prognosticator right there, calling Jimmy G to the Raiders. Great call by you, sir. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Busy weekend. It's going to be a busy week. A lot of fantasy baseball, NFL free agency, NCAA tournament, NBA. I mean, World Baseball Classic. I mean, it's just insane right now with everything that's going on.
It really is, man. And we're going to be roommates for a night, too. We're going to have plenty of stories from there.
Not really.
What does that mean? Are we not staying in the same hotel room?
We are, but I think your ass will be sleeping by the time I come back.
Yeah, I mean, it better be. It better be. That's the problem right there. If it's not, then we got an issue. So
why?
I mean, because I'm going to need some sleep, man. I want to be rejuvenated. I want to be energized. I want to make sure that I can make you look the best you can possibly look. That's my mission every single day. And I need a full night's sleep to do that, especially on the road.
Dude, you're younger than me, man. Like, come on.
I know, but you know I'm an old soul, though.
That is true, yeah. Very old soul.
That I can admit. For those that have been wondering, all weekend long, my phone has been lighting up about Fensty. Did you go back and check the Matt Deutsch schedules regarding the programming for Bettor Sports Live and for the in-game shows and all that? And I said, no, because I was too busy watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. Thank you very much. So with that, looking at what we're talking about today, we're going to preview the Atlanta Braves. It's going to be a phenomenal one, especially with the team expected to be good. Going to talk a whole mess of football, maybe even a new feature for all of you where Adam Ronis has to choose his destiny, Mortal Kombat style. So we're going to talk about all of that before we hit the NBA slate. No guests today. We'll bring more on for tomorrow. Producing today's program, The Resource, AB Adam Bernard, and the Groves, Isaiah Groves, hanging out with us as well. Rome, let's talk about all that's gone on in football, man, besides Jimmy Garoppolo now going to the Raiders and everything, and the team that he has here. I mean, you got to be thinking at this point, and I know we got our drafts way down the road, but you got someone else in there now throwing a Devontae Adams, and with that, some familiarity with Josh McDaniels as well for Garoppolo. I was talking about that for why I wanted him with the Jets, the familiarity with the coaching staff. He now gets that being with this Raiders team, man. Clearly you predicted it was a good fit, and now we're going to see the fit in motion right here. So just overall, what are your overarching thoughts regarding this Raiders squad entering 2023?
It doesn't really do much. I mean, Garoppolo's okay. He's kind of been a game manager at this point. So, I mean, it really doesn't do anything for him in fantasy. He's like a mid-range QB2. So I don't really see anything great for Garoppolo in fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I was being drafted him for that first quarterback tier either. So just a very interesting move, man, that you nailed right on the head. Some of the other moves here that we could talk about, and these are some of the bigger signings that we have as of late. We're seeing even Patrick Peterson having a deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We talked about Jesse Bates a few days ago, going to be going to the Falcons. The Falcons and the Bears having as much money as they have, and boy, are they spending. The Falcons, especially for Jesse Bates, $64 million deal, over $20 million guaranteed, and getting Nate Davis as well here. The Bears starting to beef up, man. I mean, we talked about the trade that happened during our show. Now, all of a sudden, this Bears team spending their money, getting set. This Bears team's going to be exciting to watch next season, Rome.
Yeah, I figured they were going to do a lot. They also added Tremaine Edwards, linebacker on defense as well. So Tremaine Edmonds. So he got a 4-year deal. So they spent a lot of money. We knew they had money available, and they're definitely making moves. So that's going to be an interesting division there. And I think that when I checked the odds the other day, I think Detroit was actually favored to win the division, which is right. That's just nuts. But I'm interested to see where their movement is on the Bears. We obviously know Packers still have a good squad, but who's going to be their quarterback? But that's an interesting division where I think the odds are all grouped closely together as well.
Yeah, and weren't you saying last season when we were just talking about these teams, obviously before all these moves were made, last season, I feel like I remember a conversation we had where you thought that this division was open and the future of this division was kind of open-ended as well. Now we're seeing what these teams can do, especially after the year we just had. We talk about the Lions as well. And this division now, I mean, it could be anybody's game at this point, whereas other divisions, it's kind of one team or bust. This division, though, with the odds being as close as they are, you were onto something when we were talking about the competitiveness of the division last season.
Yeah, looking at the odds right now for the NFC North on DraftKings, Detroit is favored, plus 150. Vikings are plus 270. Packers are plus 330. And the Bears are plus 350. So it really doesn't get that much tighter in most divisions. I guess the other division where it is that tight is the NFC South. The Saints are favored at plus 140, and I think that is a phenomenal bet right now. The Panthers are plus 220. How are they second? They're basically going to go with a rookie quarterback and are kind of depleted. Falcons are plus 380, and the Bucks are plus 500. So, and then the AFC North is kind of tight too. Bengals are plus 130, although they keep losing players. Ravens plus 250, Browns plus 370, Steelers plus 550. So you usually don't get many divisions where, I mean, especially you got in the NFC North, you got all 4 teams are plus 350 or lower. I mean, that's crazy. You rarely see that.
Where are you seeing the Miami Dolphins for the AFC East?
Why don't I? There's no AFC East right now. Oh, wait, there it is. The Dolphins are plus 360. The Bills are favored at plus 120. Jets plus 225. Dolphins plus 360. Patriots plus 800.
Wow, the Dolphins, I mean, with what they did over the week, I mean, getting Ramsey in the trade, very good for them. Huge move for them. The deal that they made with the Rams here, going to beef them up a little bit more. Some of the other players.
Okay. So who do you think is the biggest favorite to win a division? I mean, I kind of gave it away by already listing a few, but who do you think is the biggest favorite to win their division?
I'm going to guess the champs, the Chiefs.
Nope.
Ooh, really? Okay. Then I'm going to have to probably go with.
It's pretty easy.
Is it the Niners?
Yeah, minus 190. And then the Rams are second at plus 425. Seahawks plus 475 and the Cardinals plus 1400. The Chiefs are minus 140 and the Jags are minus 140.
The 49ers making a big move of their own. Huge
oh my God.
Hargrave? Jeez. So now what do they have? They have Hargrave, Kinlaw, I believe Armstead, and Bosa.
Armstead. They do need to work on the secondary, but my goodness, you're not going to run on this team. And you couldn't last year either.
I believe, and I don't have the numbers in front of me. Did they even give up 50 yards per game on the ground? I know it was around that number.
That's really low.
Maybe 50 to 55 then for most of the year. I feel like that's what we were talking about whenever we were analyzing these slates. So, yeah, they were hard to run on. And now, at this point, you're adding Hargrave to it? Man, what a signing. 4-year, $80 million.
Like it. Gets him out of the division, so I'll take it.
Yeah. True story.
49ers allowed only 3.4 yards per carry last year.
How much further does that drop now? Like, can it get much lower than that? Can they go below 3 yards per carry?
Yeah, you definitely do not. You're going to want to look and see when Kenneth Walker plays them if you're drafting him.
Ooh, interesting.
That comes in a playoff week. Not great. I mean, look, you worry about it then, but it is
right. You got to make the playoffs first. Mm-hmm. So that's at the end of the day there. Some of the other signings here, the Commanders a little bit busy. Nick Gates and Andrew Wiley as well. Wiley in the $24 million deal. I want to see what this Commanders team could do. It just stinks because, I mean, look who they're contending against in the division after what we saw last season. I know the Eagles losing a few pieces there, but still that division's going to be tough. And I guess with them, they're the odd team out right now, unfortunately, still. So we'll have to see what they can do as well. Couple of blocking tight ends on the move, too. What about these? You got Josh Oliver going to the Vikings, so there's your help right there for Hawkinson on the blocking end. And then the Pats trading Jonnu Smith to Atlanta, which will be a blocking for what's his name, for Pitts there. Forgot it for a minute. Someone I never would draft in the third round. I try to forget that's where he went. Jonnu Smith for a 7th round pick. That was the trade. So interesting with what's going on here. Just a lot of deals that have been placed here. Tuttle going to the Panthers, man. And even we're seeing Case Keenum going to back up whoever Houston ends up taking in the draft on a 2-year deal. Jarrett Stidham now with the Broncos as well. So were you shocked to see Mike White get a multi-year deal from Miami?
Not really. I mean, they obviously want a decent backup for Tua. So I know Jets fans are heartbroken today.
Yeah, I mean, well, this Jets fan is for a different reason here. I mean, look, with what we're hearing with the Jets, with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, people are reacting to it, and nothing's official or anything, but people are reacting to this like it's completely breaking to the point where this wasn't going to happen. I mean, we've had a good line on this Aaron Rodgers to the Jets thing for a little bit now. I mean, they've been in communications for the last week at least. So I just didn't understand. I mean, people keep texting me, oh my goodness, Rodgers to the Jets. I guess because we're so knee deep in the coverage, we're constantly just dealing with these news items over and over and over again. And here's what I got to say about that, because nothing's official. So Jimmy Garoppolo off the table, Derek Carr off the table. Now it's Rodgers or bust from the way it seems like. Here's the deal with Rodgers. I mean, that's from what we're hearing from different reports. It is a done deal. Rappaport was saying it's not a done deal. Wingo saying it is a done deal. So here's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. You haven't been able to find any kind of diamond, or at least create one and mold one there out of the coal with some of your rookie quarterbacks that you drafted, i.e. Sam Darnold, and even as well Zach Wilson. You go all the way back to Mark Sanchez too. But now you're getting a guy who's proven. Is he old? Yes, he's old. But let's see what this veteran quarterback can do if the Jets get him. I know people are outraged. Some people are like, why not give Lamar Jackson that deal? Well, let's just see what happens.
Wait, your former Jet quarterback, Sam Darnold, has found a new home.
Where's he going?
49ers.
Interesting. Look at that. Sam Darnold. Wow. What? So Sam Darnold now joins a team where he can make as many mistakes as possible and still probably win the game 6-0.
Yeah, there you go.
So, look, it's good for Sam Darnold. Going to up his value if he's on a team where the defense can hold it down. Let's see if he can become serviceable. What do you think of Sam Darnold overall? I mean, you writing him off. You see anything special with him? I mean,
No.
Coming into the NFL, he was that Brett Favre gunslinger type quarterback. I never really saw it, though. He never really made plays to me that were so great. Showed a little mobility for a time in Carolina, but nothing really that stands out about him to me.
Yeah, and I don't see him starting there. They have Brock Purdy coming off the injury and Trey Lance. So
Right. Wow. So Sam Darnold, I mean, who knows? Could be winning a ring here in the next year. So that's more news coming out. We'll keep you up to date with everything going on. Another piece of news that came out, Roan, Austin Eckler. I guess he's trying to get an extension, and it's not going too well. So now we could find him on the trade market soon enough, Mr. Eckler. Man, I start to think about what teams can use him. And you got a good number of teams that could definitely use a running back and one of the best pass-catching backs that are in the league here. Were you surprised to see the Chargers, who I thought were maybe in spend mode, seem to be not on the same page with Eckler, at least at this moment?
Well, I mean, you don't really want to pay running backs. We've seen it numerous times how it doesn't work out. So, yeah, Eckler's been really good, but he's also not a workhorse running back. He's 27 years old. So, like, how much do you want to pay him for a guy that doesn't do much on the ground. I mean, he's great in the passing game, but that's not great from an NFL perspective. I mean, that's what the Chargers have struggled. It's just Justin Herbert should be throwing downfield more.
For sure. And I know that they've been in restructure mode there for the LA Chargers. So we'll keep you up to date with everything that is going on. I mentioned at the top of the show, Patrick Peterson. It's funny because I'm seeing ESPN talk on their shows, talk about Patrick Peterson, but whoever's doing the chyrons, the graphics, isn't editing it properly because they're leaving the comments. They're like praising Patrick Peterson, but they're leaving the comments up on the reaction from Schefter's tweets. And you see on the side, someone comments, washed. Another one, washed up. Not really what you want to see right there. You got to edit that out a little bit, but a 2-year deal for Patrick Peterson, who seems like he's been in the league forever at this point, man. I forget when his rookie year was, but it seems like it has been a very long time. Still a chance to get in on our game that we have on Bettor Sports Network. It is your final chance to play our NFL free agency match contest at bettorsports.com/game. Match 10 NFL free agents with the NFL teams that you think they will sign contracts with. First prize is a $250 gift card to the bettorsports.com collectibles shop where you can purchase authentic hand-signed merchandise of your favorite NFL players. Play the NFL free agency match contest right now at bettorsports.com/game. A couple of those free agencies, what up free agents that you can match? David Montgomery, where's he going to end up? Miles Sanders, could they be swapping teams potentially here? What about Juju Smith-Schuster? Wasn't very fantasy friendly last year. He going to go to somewhere else? The latest that I've been reading about is that Kansas City wants to try to lock him in and keep him. Let us know how you're feeling in the comments section. Your team just get improvements? Let us know. Give us your reaction here, and you can always tweet us at Bettor Network. He's Ronis. I'm Fensty. Gonna talk a little Atlanta Braves for fantasy baseball before Adam Ronis, for the first time ever on Bettor Sports Network and on the Playbook, chooses his destiny. Different themes. What destiny will the Roan Man choose? We might as well create another giveaway and do some kind of game regarding this to see where you all would guess there when I give the Roan Man 2 choices and he just picks one. We are powered by fantasyalarm.com. It is the Playbook here on BSN.
Call, chat, and enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Bettor Sports Network. Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
We're talking catchers. And Ray, as we jump into this position, traditionally, this has been a position that you kind of say, well, there's like 2-3 guys and the rest is just junk. And gosh, I'm in a 2-catcher league. How in the hell am I going to fill 2 spots, in this 12-man league? And oh, it's such a struggle after the 8th catcher. Like, fair to say it's different now? I mean, I know it's not great, but it feels like the best catcher pool I've seen in a while, like at least a half decade, in terms of, wow, we've got some hitters, we've got guys, and I know they're not exclusively catchers, and the DH is helping, certainly, but it looks like we're going, 10, 12 deep at least of feeling good about catchers, I think.
I tier the players at positions because I think that's a really good way to look at them. And when you tier players, you're basically putting guys that are likely to produce similar levels of production in the same tier. One guy might be batting average, one guy might be home runs, that kind of a thing, but basically the same end result value-wise. I have 2 guys on the elite tier. I then have 9 guys or 8 guys on the next tier. And then I go all the way to 22 on the 3rd tier, which basically almost gets us to that, 2 catchers in the 24, 12-team league kind of thing. So I agree with you. And I think that even if you look beyond that, there's some names that are outside my top 20 that I could easily see being top 15 catchers this year. So yeah, it's not wow, but it's good overall. We got some young guys coming in that are dynamic players to help out some of the older guys that are still hanging on. It's better than it has been. I agree with you.
It's actually very young, Ray. And that, I mean, you look at Varsho, Rauschman, William Contreras, Kirk, Melendez, Cal Riley's semi-young, but Hebert Ruiz. And there's still other guys coming up that are in the minors right now. That's, we used to always say all these young catchers, just catch, don't worry about hitting. These guys are coming up with some skill sets as well.
Yeah, and the game is different now, right? back in the day, you were an old dude that had no athleticism. You're good at blocking balls, and we hoped you'd pop 15 home runs, right? That was kind of the MO. Now it's different. Now we get more athletic guys. It's not that, you have to be some dumpy, slow guy catching. You can be an athletic player that can play other positions, as you noted. So I think the youngsters are bringing more athleticism, kind of like the tight end position in football, right? It's like there is more athleticism at the tight end spot than there was 25 years ago. I think it's the same way at the catcher spot.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team where you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
Willie Mays Hayes here. Play like Mays, I run like Hayes.
Preparations for the 2023 fantasy baseball season have begun, and the Playbook is taking a daily look at each team's hitting.
Straight ball, I hit it very much. Curveball, that's all free.
And pitching.
Of course, if the umps are watching me close, I just rub a little jalapeno inside my nose, get it running.
You put snot on the ball.
High fly ball center field. That's very well hit. Track wall. Lead off homer for Acuna.
The Atlanta Braves, a team that stole the division, the NL East from our New York Mets. They stole it. Mets kind of gave it, but they stole it. We're just going to go with that. Can they win another World Series? Recent champs are the Atlanta Braves. When you're looking at their offseason moves, definitely upgraded defensively when it comes to the catcher position. Sean Murphy that they acquired, Jordan Luplow as well. When looking at some of the Vegas odds for them, plus 900 to win the World Series, placing them fifth among odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, plus 425 to win the NL and plus 140 to win the NL East. A win total of 94.5, minus 110 on both the over and the under. And Ronis, at least in your labor and tout team, it's looking like you're a big-time supporter, especially in labor. I remember when we went over your team, I faintly remember Ronis having a lot of Braves. And at least on your labor team, man, you got a lot of them. You've got Ozzie Albies. You've got Austin Riley. You've got Spencer Strider. Bro, you're in on these Braves in a couple of your leagues.
Unfortunately, but yeah, this is a really good team. And, you cannot draft with your heart. Just because I'm a Mets fan doesn't mean I can automatically push aside the Braves, Phillies, Marlins. Nationals, you can push them aside. They suck. But, the Braves are just loaded. Ronald Acuna coming off the down year for power, but I'm not really worried about it. I watched him a lot. You could see he just didn't have the consistent strength in that knee. Now, it didn't affect him on the base paths. He had 29 stolen bases in 119 games. He was caught 11 times, but I do think the power rebounds. I just can't imagine him not going back to the elite power that we've seen in previous seasons. He is playing in the WBC for Venezuela, which has looked good so far. So I don't mind taking Acuna number one, and I have. I love Austin Riley. I don't have him in as many leagues because he depends on where you pick. You got to kind of pick back half of the first round, but I am keeping him in my home keeper league. Matt Olson I always love. It really comes down to roster construction for him. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he led the NL on home runs, but he doesn't give you any steals, and he's not an asset in batting average. So I do like him, but I also think first base is a pretty good position this year. Like, you don't have to get one early. I like a lot of the ones in the middle round. I know it sounds crazy, but if you look at the numbers between Christian Walker and Matt Olson, they're not that far off. I think Olson has the higher ceiling. He's never hit 40 home runs yet. He did it 39, though, in 2021, playing half his games in Oakland, which is a very difficult park to hit in. So I do like Olson. It's just, I don't know if you need to take him where he's going. Because of the first base situation. Sean Murphy, I like as a catcher. Haven't really gotten him anywhere yet, but definitely fine with him. And, he could be hitting fourth or fifth in this lineup. I mean, he's going to a way better team, going from Oakland to Atlanta, going to a way better park. So he's in a good spot. One Brave I don't like is Michael Harris. I don't like the draft cost for him.
Can I stop you there for a second?
No, you can. I'm on a roll and you ruined it. Good job.
I know. I'm just going to.
Did you sleep last night?
Did I sleep last night?
Yeah.
Yes. Did you?
Oh, no, I'm just saying because you said you needed sleep on Saturday to make me look the best that I could. So, and you're not doing it today. So I thought maybe you didn't get sleep. No, go ahead.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I did get that sleep. Nice connection from about 40 minutes ago, though.
That's not 40 minutes. It's actually about 5 to 10.
23 minutes ago.
No, you didn't say it right at the top.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm sure the audience would be able to circle back and make that connection. Very
well,
good.
yeah. I mean, if they've been here since the top, they know it was recent.
The only thing I was going to say is it seems like nobody likes this guy.
That's not true. His ADP is the second, third round.
Well,
So who's drafting him?
From what I'm seeing, okay, you're taking me too literally. Let me rephrase. At least a few people who we work with, and he's on the bust list as part of our free fantasy baseball draft guide, fantasyalarm.com. Heard others talking about it too, thinking that he is going to be a bust too. So hearing you say that, I've heard this a few times about this guy.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, the guy didn't play. He skipped AAA. He was impressive last year, but strikeout rate 24.3%, walk rate of 4.8%. I think the league will now have the ability to adjust to him. If he's not going to hit it, where's he going to hit to? I mean, maybe top of the order against right-handed pitching. That'll help, but against left-handed pitching, I can see him moving down the order. Ton of ground balls last year, 56.2% ground ball rate, just a 27.1% fly ball rate, home run to fly ball rate of 22.9%. So I just think there's some issues here. He chases a lot of pitches out of the strike zone. I think you'll see pitchers adjust to that. So, to take that guy in the third round or second round, I just can't do it. And maybe he'll be good, and maybe he's an outlier here. But I just think for the cost of where he's going, I'm going to take a pitcher in that spot or another hitter. So, again, there were some good things with him last year, but I mean, his chase rate was really bad. He was in the 7th percentile. So I just think pitchers are going to have more video on him and be able to exploit that a little bit.
You drafted a couple of these pitchers here on this team, at least on your labor team. Spencer Strider with over 200 strikeouts and a sub-3 ERA. And how about this one? A sub-1 whip as well last season. And then you also got, a little bit later on, you got Charlie Morton, also over 200 strikeouts. From where you're seeing Morton go, and over the last couple of weeks on the high stakes board, seeing him go inside the top 170. Meanwhile, when it comes to Strider, he's been a top 30 pick. What are your expectations for this year for both of these pitchers? You think that they can hit the 200K mark again?
I mean, Strider can if he gets the innings. I mean, I actually was not targeting him. I was kind of surprised the bidding stopped at 25. The innings is going to be the big issue for him. 131 in the third innings last year. 2021, I think he had about 100 in the minor league levels across all three. He played at 3 levels in 21 and then came up to the Braves for just 2 in the third innings. So 131 and 2/3 innings last year, dealt with some injuries that prevented him from pitching in the postseason. So I think that's the key here. Usually if you're taking a guy that early in the second, third round, you want 180 to 200 innings. Obviously, you want over 200, but just the way the baseball landscape is, probably not going to happen much. I mean, it's hard to project him more than 150, 160 innings. And the projection system that has him with the most innings is the bat at 168. Then you got ATC with 159. So you're like, wait, do I really want that from an early pick? But you kind of have to look at it at the DeGrom level as well. I mean, this guy had 202 strikeouts and 131 and 2/3 innings. He's on a good team, so he should get run support. 38.3% strikeout rate, which is insane. 8.5% walk rate. You want that to go down a little bit, but he was really difficult to hit. So that one was not a target for me. I don't know if I'll be taking him in drafts because to me there's a few pitchers going after him that are a little bit better. But again, on a per game basis, he's going to produce. Charlie Morton, I get there's trepidation for some people with him because we did see a little bit of a decline last year, but I have confidence in the Braves organization, and they brought him back for $20 million. And last year, the home runs, and I have a profile on Charlie Morton. You could check on bettorsports.com as well as a lot of other fantasy baseball profiles, sleepers and busts. But Morton, I kind of went in depth, so you could check it out more there. But he's a good bet for 200 strikeouts, which to get in the middle rounds, you don't find that often. And I just think that the home runs were very surprising. This is a guy that has suppressed home runs in an insane way in his career. He never allowed more than 18 home runs in a season until last year, and he allowed 28. So I don't think it was a skills decline. We did see the ground ball rate go down. He's always been someone that gets a lot of ground balls. It was only 39.8% last year, and the fly ball rate was 38.6%, which is by far a career high. But the hard contact, he limited. So, I mean, maybe he is on the downside, and maybe that was a sign of things to come, but I don't think so. And where I can get Morton right now, I'm in on that price. I got him for labor at $8. Again, this is a guy that's, I think, a good bet to give you, 180 innings. The strikeouts will be there. And I just think there was maybe a little bad luck last year. So, I like the price. He's a good team, on a good team, going to get the run support. So I think he can bounce back and cut down the home runs. That's going to be the key for him. If he cuts back on those home runs, I think you'll see a solid year from him.
A few weeks ago, when I was designated for assignment, I don't know whose fault that was, but I was designated for assignment. I actually got to hang out with a little bit there, not in person though, so no one has to be jealous or anything. But I got to speak to Alex Anthopoulos from the Braves, talking about some of their player health at this point and position players too. And you ended up, at least with one share thus far, with Ozzy Albies going as a top 60 pick. And what Anthopoulos was saying, he's assuring us that he's fully healthy going into this year. And also we're talking about where Vaughn Grissom fits in when it comes to where he's going to play in the field, regularly starting, or if it's going to be a few people. I mean, what have you been drafting? I mean, clearly you're interested in Albies, but have you been drafting Vaughn Grissom at all?
No. I'm going to hit at the bottom of the order. Got to see if you can handle shortstop. I think the price is a little high. Albies I took because it was, I think, $18 in the auction. So I kind of like the price. I mean, just 2 years ago, this guy went 30 homers, 20 steals. He was banged up last year. And wasn't, it was okay when he was on the field. The average was a good 247, but had 8 homers, 3 steals in 64 games. I think he could go the worst case scenario 2020, even if you're not buying the power from 2 years ago. I think he should hit 20 home runs, steal 15 to 20 bases, decent average, 260 to 270, and the counting stats should be good. The key is to where is he going to hit? Probably going to be 5th or 6th. I mean, I'm hoping maybe we get him 2. But yeah, they have a wide range that they can do with their lineup here. So they could have Michael Harris second against righties and put Albies down. Maybe they put Albies second against lefties. Do they put Olsen third, Riley fourth? So there's a wide range they could go, but I don't see Albies hitting lower than 6th. So I think it'll be in the top 6. I think a lot's going to depend on who they're facing. And Grissom's probably going to hit 9th. So not ideal. You get less at bats. I know it's a good lineup, but the higher you hit up in the order, the more opportunity you get to the plate and improve those counting stats.
Moving over to the bullpen for this Braves team. Have you taken any shares of Raisel Iglesias yet?
I don't know if I do, but he is a closer that I love.
He's going. I don't mean for a team that's supposed to be as good as the Braves are supposed to be. I mean, he's going as a top 75 pick. I feel like that's pretty decent value for this guy going in. Obviously, we've talked about a million times closers being pushed up the board this year, especially, but I don't think that's bad value from where I'm seeing him go in some of these high stakes leagues.
I mean, it's not a value, but if you're going to pay for a closer, then he's one that I want, especially I've seen some drafts where he'll go in the 5th round. And I'm like, oh, I love that there because he's been a stable closer for a long time. And when he came up to the Braves last year, he was lights out. So I'm pretty sure he has the job. Maybe Minter gets the occasional save if they have lefties coming up. Maybe they have 3 tough righties in the 8th. But I think it's going to be Iglesias' job, and he's always been a solid closer. The walk rate's always been good. Remember, he pitched a lot of his career in Cincinnati, where he did get hurt by the home run ball, but it's not going to be an issue in this park. Allowed 5 homers in 62 innings last year. Whip has been below 1 3 straight years. So, yeah, he's one of my favorite closers. I believe I have ranked him 4th at closer, which I believe is higher than most people.
0.34 ERA once he came to Atlanta. I mean, just incredible what we saw from him last year. So getting some of those saves there, you see him at around that 80 mark. maybe you have a chance to get him on your team. Anybody else that we need to highlight from the squad, Roan? I mean, someone like an Ozuna or anybody else even worth talking about? Anybody else in the outfield that we should be targeting even for a few bucks in our auctions?
I think Travis d'Arnaud is fine as a number 2 catcher. I think he's going to get some at-bats. I know Murphy's there, but I think they'll mix him in. Rosario's had a really good spring. He had a lot of issues last year. I took him in a draft Champions League like around 28, 29 as depth, so I'd keep an eye on him to see if he can rebound. I like Max Fried a lot. I think he's a guy that, if you really wait on pitching and you don't take your ace till round 5, I'm fine with him. I think there's more potential for strikeouts. I know he didn't have like elite strikeout numbers last year, but he just doesn't allow a lot of barrels. He doesn't allow a lot of hard hits. He had a whip of 1.01, 14 wins last year, a 2.48 ERA. I mean, 4.1% walk rate. Again, just has all the makings of, a top pitcher that kind of doesn't get that attention. So I could see him getting more strikeouts this year. And that's obviously going to be the key because he's kind of right there as like the SP2 range. And if he can just increase those strikeouts, he can make it up to the potentially SP1 range. There was more swinging strike percentage last year was 12%. So it went up from the previous year of 11.1%. So if that continues and he gets some more swings and misses, strikeout rate could go up. Everything else is great. ERA, whip, again, wins. 14 wins last year and 30 starts. We know the Braves kind of have started slow the last 2 years and then just ramped it up in the second half. But we've seen his innings go up too. He went from 165 and 2/3 innings to 185 and a third. I'd probably expect similar, but maybe he gets 200 innings. And again, I could see the strikeouts increase because he did have more than a strikeout per inning in 2019, slightly under in 2021. It was a little bit lower last year. And then the strikeouts rates have been in the 23 to 24% range. But with those swings and misses, I could see it going up. He gets a lot of weak contact, which is probably why he doesn't get as many strikeouts, and he gets a lot of ground balls. So a really good pitcher. I think in some leagues you're going to get him as an SP2, especially if you take a pitcher round 2 or 3. And to get him as your SP2 around 5 is really, really nice. But again, if you do go 4 bats and you get freed in round 5 and follow up with another pitcher, I'm good with that too. And
I was going to actually ask you about that. And sorry to interrupt you again. I was going to ask you about that and see if you had ever, at least in recent years, gone the first 10 rounds with maybe only grabbing one starter. And then
I can't do that anymore. Maybe in the past, I just don't see how you can do that anymore. Again, there's always a blueprint for anything that can work. So I know someone's listening. Well, I did it last year. Okay. Again, what's the competitive nature of the league? How many teams are in the league? Anything can work if you get the right guys, right? If you hit on all the late starters after round 10 that all surpass their value, sure, it can work. But I don't want to go with that plan. I tend to take at least a start. I don't think I've gone more than 4 rounds without taking a starting pitcher. Tout, I started 3 bats and then went Christian Javier and who's the other guy I took? I can't remember.
You went. I have your draft right here. You went Christian Javier, and then you went Luis Castillo the next round.
Yeah. See, so I don't mind those guys.
And then you went Bautista after that to address your closer spot.
Yeah, because that was where the drop off fell after that. I was debating taking Edwin Diaz in round 3. Because again, I did it in TGFBI. I took him in round 2. But I kind of read that room. I said, it looks like they're going to wait on closers a little bit. And they did because Diaz didn't go till 3-9. But once I passed on the 4-5, I'm like, I might not even wind up getting one early. But Bautista, the reports are encouraging. And I believe he's going to make his spring debut tomorrow or throw BP. So it sounds like he could be ready for the start of the season. If I had missed out there, then I was probably going to wind up with a crappy closer. But I want to try and get.
Now, man, I bet you were feeling the heat because I'm looking at it right here. Iglesias went to start, Presley, and then you had a couple starters go, and then you had Helsley go, Kenley Jansen go, and then we get to you with Bautista. Clay Holmes taken right after you, man.
See, and I'll take Bautista over those guys. I have Bautista raked over Helsley and Kenley Jansen, so it kind of worked out. I don't know if people had fear because they were worried about Bautista starting the year, but it sounds like he's making his way back, and we saw how good he was last year. So Yeah, if I would have missed out there, I would not have taken Holmes. So I probably would have just skipped it. So it's just kind of playing the market.
What about Duval?
No, I would not have taken him there. He's overvalued at that point. I mean, we've seen Gabe Kapler with the way he is, and I would not be surprised if Taylor Rogers takes over that job or gets a handful of saves. I know Duval's had some, good stuff and was pretty good last year, but, he's still a closer with a walk rate that's 10.5%. That is very scary, man. 10.5% walk rate last year. It was 8.3% the year before. His whip was 1.24. I mean, that's the recipe for losing your job. Again, he does not allow a lot of hard contact, induces a lot of ground balls, good pitchers park, man. But you start walking guys like that early in the year, that's a recipe for losing the gig. And Taylor Rogers has some experience, and they brought him in. So Doval doesn't belong in that round.
He went a round later, and then I'm seeing a few rounds later, Pete Fairbanks then went. And then on the other side, it stopped after Clay Holmes.
You better have a plan of what you're going to do at closer this year. And if you don't take one early, you're screwed. I mean, not screwed, but you're going to have to really work that roster, man. Like, again, I want one solid one, and then I'll take a bunch of shots late. Everyone is going to hit the waiver wire for closers. So you're going to wind up spending some money, but I want to get at least one good one to at least keep me competitive in the category, and then I'll figure it out. Hopefully some of the ones I take in the reserve round hit or get the job, but there's just very few closers that we know going into the year have the job. And even some of the middle range, we're not sure if they have the job. We're speculating. Like, I do like Pete Fairbanks. His price has really risen. I think people have confidence in him because the Rays paid him, and we rarely see them do that. But, they do have Adam there who's really good. So I'm willing to take Fairbanks, but it's not like, oh, yeah, he definitely has the job. So that's the problem, is you get into a range where there's just so many question marks at the closer position. So I'm trying to get one pretty early. And I've been successful in almost every draft that I've done so far. Even in labor, it looks like I overspent seeing how the market played out because he came out early. I got Class A at $18, but Diaz went at 21. And I think those guys are kind of close. You can make a case Class A is going to get more saves than Diaz, which he did last year. Diaz obviously is going to give you more strikeouts, but I wanted to get one. A lot of the other closers went cheaper earlier, but, that's the thing in an auction. You got to make the decision at the time. And when I see that I got him $3 cheaper than Diaz, I was pretty happy. But I saw a lot of other guys go cheaper. But at that point, there's nothing you could do. And then in that one, I took a shot, Ronaldo Lopez. I think he has an opportunity to open the season as the closer for the White Sox. Everyone thinks it's Kendall Graveman. They have not named him the closer. They're not naming a closer. Graveman wasn't great. Liam Hendricks, we don't know when he's going to be back. Dealing with the hot.
I'd be very surprised if we got him for a month or two.
Yeah. So, and then I took Evan Phillips as well. Cheap. Could be the guy for the Dodgers. I know they have Daniel Hudson and Brusdar Graterol, who I have taken in draft champions later. But, Phillips maybe gets an opportunity early on. But again, that's what you're going to do. You're going to take these relievers for $1, taking them in the reserve round, see how it goes early in the season, and they could be your first cuts. You kind of see how the season goes. It opens on a Thursday, so you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we're only 2 weeks away from the first FAB period. It's crazy, right?
Man.
Wait, no, 12, 19, 26. No, 3 weeks. 3 weeks away from the first FAB period, which would be April 2nd, which is opening day for me in softball. So, damn, that's a busy day. A lot of FAB and softball, crazy. But, yeah, I want to try and get these guys cheap. I think I did it in Tout, too.
You got I'm looking at your team.
I think I took Herget in the reserve round and Reynaldo Lopez, right?
You did.
Yeah. So Herget's a guy I think maybe closes. Carlos Estevez has had a really, really bad spring. Again, it's only a handful of games, but if they're evaluating and making decisions based on that, maybe Herget gets the job. And, now I got him cheap instead of, he gets us 2 saves the first 4 days. Oh, damn, he's the closer. I only got one in the draft. Now I got to spend 35% of the budget. You don't want to do that.
No.
Because a lot of times it doesn't work out. So That's what I'm trying to do there is I'll get one solid closer, and then I'll take 2 or 3 shots, depending on how many roster spots. And if one of them gets the job to start the season, I'm good. If neither does, then, cut them, move on. Because we all need guys that we're going to cut from our roster for that first waiver wire period. So, but yeah, you got to have a plan of what you want to do on closer. And I'm more apt to take one earlier this year than ever before, just because the supply and demand, and there's very, very few supply right now.
What about baking 2 top 10 picks for top 10 round picks, not overall in closers? For instance, let's say I want to go after a Jordan Romano and a Pete Fairbanks, which will probably cost me at least one for sure, but Fairbanks going to go before the 10th round's over. So is it worth just baking in the investment on both of those guys?
You can do that. I mean, it depends. Fairbanks, you might be able to get around 10 or 11. So you can do that. 15-team league, it might be tough,
sure,
but you might be able to get it a little bit easier in a 12. It also depends on the room and who you're drafting with. So, but that's possible to do.
No, you responded nicely to the run, though. That's the thing. I mean, your 6th round got crushed with closers.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be in trouble when I because it was a tough decision in the 5th, 6th. I'm like, damn, do I take a closer here? But I really like Castillo this year. He's a guy that I have in a lot of leagues. I think the transition to Seattle we saw last year was really good. The only thing that was preventing him from being an upper echelon fantasy pitcher was the whip, and the whip was really good last year. I could see him going 200 innings, 200 Ks this year. Mariners are a good team. So I felt like, you know what, let me just get the pitcher here, and hopefully one of those closers that I like made it back.
You responded to a starting pitching run too, as well. A couple rounds before, you see guys like, I'm seeing at least of the rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. I'm seeing, wow, there's like 10 pitchers taken in your 4th round.
Well, I knew that was coming because they did not go pitching heavy early. And I saw it, which is why I went with the 3 bats, because in a lot of drafts, I tend to take, I might take a pitcher, especially on the 2-3. I mean, this was on base percentage, so it was a little bit different. So I wouldn't have taken Seager and Altuve in an average league on that 2-3, but this was OBP, and I saw the way that the room was pounding the bat. So I said, all right, I think if I get 2 bats I like here, I'm probably not going to like the bats in rounds 4 or 5, and there should be pitchers there that I like. So it did work out as far as the start. I kind of like how it started out.
Would you have taken Max Fried over Luis Castillo if he was still on the board by the time it hit you in tout in the 5th round?
Probably not. I have Castillo a little higher. I think more strikeouts for Castillo.
What about in the 4th round? Would you have taken Yu Darvish, who I know you've taken in the past, Yu Darvish over Christian Javier if he was still out there by the time I hit you?
Probably not. I'm very high on Javier this year. I do like Darvish too. I don't know if I have any Darvish yet, which is concerning because I usually have him.
You do
every single year.
You know who else you get every single year? Tell me if I'm wrong on this guy. I don't think I am. Ross Stripling. I feel like you've always been a Ross, at least for the last few years that we've worked together, you've been a Ross Stripling guy.
I wouldn't say I'm a Stripling guy, but I don't remember how much I had him last year. I just like the situation this year in San Francisco, that park. And we've seen pitchers go to San Francisco and just pitch very, very well. And he was pretty solid last year. The strikeouts weren't elite, but we saw him really – home runs were an issue for him in the past, although in 20 and 21. Again, 20 was only 49 in the 3rd innings. But I just like him going to the park. He's had a good spring. He had a 1.02 whip last year. I think people don't look at that enough. And, you know, he was a very late-round pick. So to get a late-round pick that pitches in that park that can give you a low whip, I think is a pretty valuable pick.
He's Adam Rodas. I'm Justin Fensterman. We'll continue previewing teams all throughout the next couple of weeks, leading you right up to opening day. And then just like we're previewing basketball, we're also going to give you a little baseball preview, look at props as well. I can tell you this, when it comes to the regular season, the props that I did the best on were pitcher props, actually. They were either strikeouts or how many outs, and I would try to find, and I went to Ronis with a few randos there. Michael Wacha was the most famous pitcher that I would bring to Ronis, be like, hey, man, over 15 and a half outs, I think he can do it tonight. So that's kind of where I left off from last year. But Rowan, one of the props that I want to go in a little bit more on, and I know this is an area that you talk about, total base props. I mean, that's something I feel like you went in on a decent amount last year when placing baseball bets. And we'll have to talk about strategies on really what to look for, because what's the deal with the props for total bases? Walks don't count at all, right?
No.
But let's just say that even if the guy walked and he stole second, then does that count?
Nope.
That none of that counts because it was in relation to how he got on the base. So very interesting there on how all that works. We're going to talk more about it. Let's play a new game, though, on Bettor Sports Network. It's called Choose Your Destiny. What I figured with this was Ronis and I can, depending on the week, we could go back and forth. And this week, Ronis will be the destiny chooser. I'll be the chosen one maybe next week, and Ronis can burn me with questions. But got two options. Ronis has to pick one. This is for his life right here. Choosing his destiny. You can choose your destiny by hanging with us here on BSN. And Ronis mentioned, of course, the Bettor Baseball Preview, which you can stream on demand on BSN, but you can also watch live World Baseball Classic action and compete in our live Q&A contest on the Bettor Sports Network app. It's Israel at Puerto Rico on Bettorcast. Watch, play, and win prizes by answering predictive questions about the game while having fun chatting with our community in real time. Join us for Bettorcast on the Bettor Sports Network app tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, right after us. Monday Night Rants will air on bettorsports.com and on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch at Bettor Network. Let's get to Ronis choosing his destiny on the Playbook on Bettor Sports Network.
Call, chat, and enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Bettor Sports Network.
Let's talk a little NBA, because I found it interesting yesterday with those that are now all of a sudden going to be critical of Nikola Jokic and what he's accomplishing this year for the Denver Nuggets. As Denver is the top seed in the Western Conference right now, they've won 44 games so far during the course of the NBA regular season, and Nikola Jokic is well on his way to being a three straight time NBA MVP in the regular season. He's been remarkable. He's averaging a triple-double, nearly 25 points per game, over 11 rebounds a game, and 10 assists per game. His remarkable accomplishments have really poo-pooed or knocked down the idea of voter fatigue, which was a huge part of the conversation coming into the NBA regular season, thinking that there have only been three men, Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Larry Bird, that have ever won 3 consecutive NBA regular seasons. Mind you, you could never give that to Nikola Jokic, because think about the historical ramifications it would be in the NBA. LeBron's never done it. Michael's never done it. How could Nikola Jokic do it? And then you get this, and it's the case of the hot take world that we're in, or I need something to say, or let's think of a different angle to approach a topic. But the idea that Nikola Jokic is a stat padder is complete and utter nonsense. I mean, you've had one person after another come out saying Nikola Jokic is not looking at his stat line during the course of an NBA game. He's not focused in on whether or not where his rebounds are, where his assists are in any particular game. He's having an historic season. He's shooting nearly 64% from the floor. He is being economical in the way that he's going about his business offensively. He's distributing the basketball. He's also been a willing rebounder as well. Why be critical of something that we're watching, which is historic? We're seeing him do stuff that no other NBA player has ever been able to go out there and accomplish. So as we go and look at Jokic, and he is going to be the MVP. It's not going to be Joel Embiid with the Philadelphia 76ers. It's not going to be anybody else that you want to throw out there. As we watch the brilliance of the Denver Nuggets, and everyone looks at the Western Conference and wants to look at teams like the Phoenix Suns if Kevin Durant is healthy, or the Los Angeles Clippers, or the Sacramento Kings, or, you know, let's be honest, the very, very immature Memphis Grizzlies, and everybody wants to pick anybody else but the Denver Nuggets to come out of that West and get to themselves to the NBA Finals, even throwing the Golden State Warriors into the equation as the defending NBA champs. Well, I think we have to have a lot of respect for what Denver's been able to do this regular season and a healthy respect of going into the postseason. And I also think we have to have a respect of what Nikola Jokic is accomplishing as well and not be critical just for the sake of being critical. That, to me, is utterly nonsense. For more content like this, check out Bettor Network at TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and also on YouTube.
Choose your destiny. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Let's see, Ronis back with you. A new little feature we're going to do every single week. It's called Choose Your Destiny. Questions to be asked, decisions to be made. I got to say, though, Ron, I hear Nando DeFino there just coming back as he always does with the voiceover here. What do you think the chances are? Because I'm going to be in New York. You're in the New York, New Jersey area. It's Tout Wars and NFBC week for the industry drafts. They continue through the month of March, so we'll both be up there. What are the chances we see Hall of Famer Nando DeFino?
Pretty slim. Busy guy. Got a lot to do. So I doubt it. But you never know. Maybe I can make an appearance there somehow.
I mean, that would be good if we got to see Nando a little bit there. Miss Nando. Hope everything is great with him. Very much deserving.
I don't know if you saw the other day, but I posted some donuts on Twitter.
I noticed that. I actually almost commented, does this mean we're going for pancakes next week? But I didn't know if maybe he was like a partner in this Staten Island donuts place or something, or if he just liked donuts. What do you think?
I love donuts. I always used to bring them to people, and Ronis would make fun of me for it.
Man,
he's a mean guy.
You're good. You're good right there. I can't believe he won't acknowledge that you have such a great impression of him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I just don't get it.
All right.
Everyone
Nando,
else sees it, but me.
Choose your destiny, Nando. So we're going to do different destinies here for Ronis. So the first one, fantasy baseball, first round destiny. Choose your destiny. Ronald Acuna or Trey Turner?
I'm going to go Ronald Acuna. Again, I think the power will come back. He's been an elite player for years. I have had the number one pick and went Acuna. No problem with Trey Turner. I mean, again, this is a guy that probably, I would think a veteran like him could steal more, beat the pitcher to throw over a couple times and then know that he has a free base. So I think the speed will be there as it always is. But again, Acuna steals bases too. Turner has the higher average, but I think Acuna has more power. Turner's career high home runs is 28 in 2021. He only had 21 homers last year, and Dodgers Stadium, pretty good park hit. I know it's like, Philly's going to hit a ton of home runs, but I just don't see like a 30 homer season out of him. So I'll take Acuna.
Yeah, they both swipe bags. So that's what you get with both of these guys. Both of them very good first-round picks here. But the Roman taking Acuna for choosing his destiny. How about this? Favorite team destiny here. Mets or Cowboys? Your two loves in sports. Choose your destiny.
Boy, that is rough, man. Two teams that just have not been able to come through. But I'll probably go with the Mets just because of Steve Cohen owning the team and the money he's going to pump in, and there's no salary cap. So I'll go there. It's the Cowboys is kind of the same story every single year. Good team, make the playoffs, and then just don't get further. So I'll go with the Mets. And I want a Mets World Series before a Cowboys title. So I have seen the Cowboys win 3 titles. And I know you're going to be like, well, you saw the Mets at 86. I was too young. So we don't need to get there with that discussion again. So give me a Mets title so I can enjoy it, go to the parade, and just wow out.
Bro, the Knicks went to the finals when I was 7 years old, and I remember every single game that I watched.
Yeah, because you had no life.
Well,
at 8 years old, I was, doing things.
Dang, I don't, man, doing things or people or all the above? Who knows? Who knows? So you'd rather see the Mets. Do you like Jerry Jones? I don't think I've ever asked you about that before.
Yeah, I mean, he's fine, but, it would be nice to get less involvement from him.
Yeah. What's the deal? When he became the owner, that's when he got rid of Tom Landry, and everyone was like freaking the F out about it. That's what I remember about that here when looking through history of Jerry Jones. Wasn't that his first big act, getting rid of Tom Landry, who was with the team since its inception into football? Wild.
I mean, they did win titles.
They did. I mean, it's funny, and with different coaches too, right? I mean, they won
Switzer
with
and Jimmy
Jimmy
Johnson.
Johnson.
They probably would have. I think they would have won 4 titles in a row had they kept Jimmy Johnson. I didn't think Switzer was. They kind of won in spite of him.
What was the reason? What was the breakdown between Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson? Do they just not like each other?
Ego. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Johnson got a lot of credit for winning.
He deserves it. He's the coach.
I mean, look, they did a good job with the Herschel Walker deal. They drafted very well, but that kind of happens. The ego gets involved a little bit.
It's so funny because Barry Switzer. I mean, when you think of Barry Switzer, you think Oklahoma, but he won a title with the Cowboys. Very funny to see. Very decorated career, Barry Switzer. It's funny because when you watch the 30 for 30s with him involved, they make him seem like he's a total asshat. Because you look at the one with Marcus Dupree, and you hear about all this stuff, the way he treated Marcus Dupree. He thought the world of him, but he was also very hard on him. And Marcus Dupree has a little bit of a soft soul in him, and he didn't like that. He didn't like being pushed and forced and stuff like that. I mean, Brian Bosworth, that with what he did in 1987. You remember that, right? Where he was popped for steroids. And even though it was an inconclusive test, I believe it was before the Orange Bowl or whatever in like 87. And then they tried to get retested, and it's probably he was told, don't do it, Bosworth. And then Switzer, because he wore this shirt with a political stance. I don't know if you remember the shirt, but it was a political stance about Russia. He got kicked off the team by Barry Switzer after that. It's so funny because when you see Switzer in that light, and I get he has to be tough on the players and everything like that. But after that with the Boz, that led to the downfall because the Boz then wrote a book about what was going on in Oklahoma, everyone taking steroids, the drugs, everything that goes on in underground college football, and essentially led to the forced resignation of Barry Switzer. I'll always say this. I'm filled with a bunch of useless information, but occasionally I can swerve them into topics just a little bit. All right, Roan. Fantasy baseball league scoring category destiny, wins or quality starts?
Choose your destiny.
I'll stick with wins. I know it's not ideal, but quality starts. 3 runs in 6 innings is a 4.5 ERA. I don't know how that's quality. So I know wins can be frustrating. You can have a pitcher go 7 innings, 1 run, and the bullpen blows it. And now a lot of pitchers don't go deep into games. So I'll stick with wins.
Sticks with wins over quality start. This next one's a tough one. And I want to bring in our producer, Adam Bernard, here to kind of help me through this here. Bernard, when I asked Ronas here about his instant replay in sports destiny that he's choosing, what do you think, man? Does that include coaches' challenges or not that were around before instant replay came into sports? Or do we have to just put it all together because technically it is a replay that's being brought to light in a game and could have a game impacting result based on the decision?
I think you got to lump them in.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. I was thinking about this throughout the day here. So lumping everything in, Roan.
Oh, big Jets news, bro.
What just happened?
Oh, man. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
The Jets have re-signed Greg Zuerlein.
Oh, thank you.
I got you, bro.
I'm like thinking, bro, I'm just, when you say it like that, I'm thinking, had they screw it up this time, what scrub quarterback did they just give a 5-year deal to?
All right, go ahead.
How am I supposed to go ahead now? Was that really, did that really just happen?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Bernard, I heard Bernard's reaction too. And I was like, Bernard, you played into that very nicely. I'm like, oh, did the Aaron Rodgers deal fall through or something like that? That's it. That's about to happen and drop on us here. What do you think, Bernard? I thought based on your reaction, Bernard, I thought that something catastrophic happened to this organization.
I thought it was going to be like the Aaron Rodgers trade talks between the teams fell apart. Deal is dead, and now the Jets literally have no options at quarterback next year besides Zach Wilson.
God, man, that would
Or going out and getting Ryan Tannehill, which great. Well, wait, Lamar Jackson.
That's true. That's
Can't
true.
do that either for some reason. They would mess that up too. So
they mess everything up, this organization. Like imagine, like Ron, I know you haven't seen a Cowboys championship in a while, but imagine being a Jets fan. You know how sad it is being a Jets fan?
I'm aware. I have friends. Again, I think though the big difference is most years you guys don't have high expectations, whereas the Cowboys do. So
Right.
I think it's worse to be a Cowboys fan because you get teased. You're like, oh, maybe this team can do something. And then it's like, nope, same story. At least with the Jets, you're like, all right, well, we're finishing third or fourth in the division. Okay. That's just for real. Isn't it easier? It's like, okay, it's like, you know, you're a guy that doesn't get a lot of women, and then all of a sudden this really good-looking woman is interested in you, and you get your hopes up, and you know she's going to play you, right? It's like that. That's what being a Jets fan is.
Of course. Yeah, it is. I wish I could give it that much respect and credit, but I can't. It's just awful when your team hasn't made the playoffs, the longest playoff drought in the NFL, and it's just, you just expect the worst, and they're made fun of. And it's funny because Family Guy.
Would you rather be a Cowboys fan going to the playoffs consistently, but just not even be able to get to the NFC Championship game?
I mean, as frustrating as it is, I'd like to see my team involved in the postseason.
Yeah, but
I feel like
it's not. It doesn't do any good if you're not going to win a Super Bowl. What's the point? Like you go through this whole year, you get your hopes up, and then
but
boom,
you have hope. Jets fans don't have any hope.
You know, I don't know. It's kind of misled hope in a way, though.
Well,
like I told you, we went through this. After the Cowboys stomped the Colts, you're like, oh, you got to be excited. Look, I said, dude, I have seen this thing play over and over again. I'm not getting excited until they get to an NFC Championship game. Yeah, okay, great. They were in a close game, and then they beat the crap out of the Colts in the fourth quarter.
They were looking fantastic.
Okay, but they do this every single year. And then you looked at the conference. All right, well, they're going to have to get past Philly or San Fran. And I was always worried about San Fran. And they played as good a defense as you could against San Fran and still lost.
Right. No, I hear you on that. But at least you have hope going into the year.
Yeah, but again, it's not real hope, though.
Right? Like, I get that. But
and the Jets are not in a bad spot right now. Obviously.
Like, Jets get Aaron Rodgers. In your mind, does that automatically make them a playoff team? In your mind?
Probably because, look, and I think Rodgers' play has declined. I was not impressed with him last year. But they don't need the MVP level Aaron Rodgers. They just need a competent quarterback that can be a threat. I mean, there were games that the Jets just had no threat at quarterback. I mean, it's tough to win that way. And they still stayed competitive because their defense was so good. So they don't need Rodgers to play at the MVP level that he has in the past. And he's got weapons on that team. So yeah, I think the AFC's tough, but yeah, I think they're definitely a playoff contender. They don't need Rodgers to be elite. They just don't.
Right. Complete about, if you get Rodgers, complete about 65, 66% of your passes, throw a few touchdowns, and not these games which Jets and Jets fans are used to, 190 and a touchdown or two. No, give us 300 yards semi-consistently, 250. Give us 250 semi-consistently. That's all we're asking for at this point. I looked up a list of quarterbacks before, just in case the news dropped about Aaron Rodgers, and was looking down the list, and that's a sad activity right there. When you see quarterbacks like Kellen Clemens and Brooks Bollinger, and you see, look, Mark Sanchez, yeah, it was fun for a few years, but that defense carried them to 2 AFC championships. It wasn't Mark Sanchez. And as soon as there was a little bit of a leak there when it came down to this team, when they weren't performing perfectly on defense, they fizzled with Mark Sanchez. Didn't really develop after that. Man, I have to go all the way back. I mean, I love Chad Pennington, but he had a noodle arm. Guy couldn't throw downfield. Very accurate, very smart quarterback before he suffered the shoulder injuries here. Man, this team, just at some point here, it's look, okay, well, maybe they can make the playoffs. Okay, and then what? They lose 40-0 in the playoffs? I mean, come on. That's the thing, man. I want to have hope for this team. And in my Jets fandom, the only time I can even remember having hope for this team for a serious run was in 2010 after their first run to the AFC Championship back in 2009. Then I had hope going in, but Revis was holding out, and that was causing a bunch of drama. Continuing going on here with our Choose Your Destiny. So, Roan, ultimately, instant replay in sports as a whole, including challenges, yes or no, universally?
I'll say yes. I know there's always drawbacks and delays in the game, but I want to try and get the call right. So maybe a modification of it for certain sports, but I'll say yes.
I'm with you on that too. It's better to actually get it right than even though it stops the time and everything like that. It's better to get it right. Next up, vacation destination spot for you. 2 places where you've been, Aruba or Cancun.
It's tough. I like both. I'll probably lean Aruba, but it's a close call.
I'm asking this for research purposes because not this upcoming vacation that I'm going to take the next year, I want it to be one of those spots, or Italy. Italy's in the mix as well. The problem is, Roan, again, me, the old soul, I don't want to go sightseeing. I don't. I want to be left the hell alone and just have some very tasty drinks on the beach. That's it. That's all I really want to do. Go visit different beaches, different islands for the rest of my life. I mean, I know that seeing the world is very important to an extent. I've never really had that motivation to go see the world, to go mark down all the different countries, what continents I visited or anything like that. I've just never been into that, man. I just want to chill and relax. Are you a see the world guy?
I'm a combination. I do like the beach, drinks and all that, but I also do like getting out and seeing things. So it's a combination for me.
See, you would like what we're doing because we're going to Cancun in July, or not Cancun. We're going to Costa Rica in July, and we're spending the first few days in the rainforest. We'll tour the volcanoes and do all that stuff. And then we're doing the whole beach thing for the second half of the trip there. So it's an even split, ending, of course, with the beach, the relaxation part, and not the crazy hiking that I'm going to have to do here. But that's the thing, 50-50 relationship. It's all about compromise right here. Let's go to favorite activity destiny that you could do. I'm putting a little bit of a ruling on this. You could do one for the rest of your life. Make out or play softball.
I'm gonna say play softball just because I can still have sex. So I don't need to make out. I mean, I like it, and especially when I'm into it with someone, but I can still do other things. So I'll skip the make out part, not as much. Well, you can still do foreplay and all that, but just not making out. And I get to play softball because I still have a good 20 years left to play softball. I'm going to play. My goal is to play to look, if I could play my entire life, man, I want to do it. But I definitely want to still be playing at 60, 65. There's no doubt. And I see guys who do it, so it's just a matter of just kind of staying in shape, keeping the bones healthy. So right now I'm on that pace, so yeah, I want to play softball. I mean, making out is great, don't get me wrong, but I still do other things for pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by your answer, but a little still surprised by
why. I love softball, you know that.
Right, but I know how much you love making out too. So.
I do, especially if I'm really into her. Yeah, yep. Definitely. But you know what? I'm like, hey, I had a tough decision to make, and I'm sorry we can't make out, but I can do everything else you want, baby.
So speaking of making out, dessert destiny for you. Choose your destiny. Chocolate cake or chocolate ice cream. I'm going to say, though, because just chocolate ice cream is, kind of boring. Let's put some fudge and some sprinkles. I'll let you have whatever toppings you want on the chocolate ice cream versus the piece of chocolate cake. What are you choosing?
Yeah, both are great, but I'll go chocolate ice cream, especially on a hot day, and I could put some peanut butter in there, bananas. Yeah, give me the chocolate ice cream.
There you go. Oh, man, banana split. I haven't had that in a long time. Now, I've asked you this 1,000 times before, so I'm going to ask you this differently. Where to sit at a baseball game destiny? Now, for those that have hung out with me and Ronas on other networks, on other shows, I've asked him about first base versus third base line. He has chosen third base line in the past, so I'm going to ask it a little bit differently this time. So where to sit at a baseball game destiny? Behind the plate, elevation doesn't matter. You can be as high or as low as you want. Behind the plate or in the outfield?
Behind the plate. It's just a tremendous view. You could see the pitcher movement. So you could see the whole field. So, yeah, I like sitting behind home plate.
So I love it too, although at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., they have very good short porch seating in left field, which I think has tremendous views. I can still see most of what's going on there. So normally, for most of my life, I feel like I've sat somewhere behind the plate, whether it was in the 200s or 300s, right down their field level. But then once I moved to D.C., I started sitting in the outfield also because the short porch and left for Nats Park, right by the exit. You'd be the first ones out of the freaking park afterwards, too. But we're talking about actually sitting and enjoying the game itself. I still choose the plate, too. But, man, short porch outfield, also not a bad place to view a game. How about this one? Co-managing a fantasy team destiny. Michael Irvin or David Wright?
Probably Michael Irvin, because I know I'll wind up doing everything.
Nice. I think you'd have a better time hanging with Michael Irvin too. Conversation would probably be more lively. So I don't blame you there. Okay, final one for you, Roan. This is called the common sense destiny. Okay, you're staying with your good friend and coworker at a hotel for a night or two and have a 9 a.m. broadcast the next day. Assuming you go out to dinner and this dinner will be after midnight on the Friday night. When you show back up to the room at 3 a.m., mind you, we have a 9 a.m. broadcast there, you and this friend. Would you quietly walk in the room to not wake up your roommate and be considerate of your roommate who has to lead the broadcast? Or would you turn lights on in the bathroom, be loud, maybe even be on some kind of call that late, speaking loudly, being like, you know what? Who cares about him?
I'm a very respectful person. Now, I probably will have a drink or two at this dinner. I will come back. I will be as quiet as possible, but the video chat could get a little raunchy. So,
okay. So here's what you can do. I'm pretty sure the bathroom will have a fan in it. Boom.
Okay.
There you go. Drowns out the noise. Just a little.
Yeah. Hopefully, she's not too loud.
Yep. Okay. Now I'm kind of nervous. What's coming back at 3 a.m. to the hotel on Saturday morning? We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll have some stories for you guys next week here on Bettor Sports Network. Choose your destiny. Little fun activity. Maybe Ronas will put me on the hot seat next week here. Let's talk a little NBA, but not before I tell you what exactly you get by being a Bettor fan, because you can join us for more great shows and events on Bettor Sports Network. Check out the program schedule on the Bettor Sports Network app and at bettorsports.com. 7 a.m. Eastern, the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show with Simon J.L. and Andrew Cooper, our guy from fantasyalarm.com. 10 a.m. Eastern, Moose and Keith with Mark Malusis and Keith Irizarry. Noon Eastern, Lunch Money with Kyle Elfrink and Ray Flowers. Then 3 p.m. Eastern, after they're done, you get the replay of Moose and Keith. 5 p.m. Eastern, you get us, as you know, on the Playbook. And then 7 p.m. Eastern, you get the Bettor Cast featuring the World Baseball Classic, matchup of Israel and Puerto Rico. Monday Night Rants will air on bettorsports.com and on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at Bettor Network. Didn't give you guys a first play today, but that's okay. We've got some right now heading into tonight's slate of NBA action, and then a little hockey with AB coming at you here on the Playbook on BSN.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by fantasyalarm.com. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by fantasyalarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern.
People are always very critical when it comes to fantasy baseball. I would say this, and I'm a big fantasy basketball guy. I love fantasy football. There's no fantasy sport that's even close to being as hard as baseball. The season, having to figure out, especially if you're playing weekly, which I don't like to play. Weekly with the 2 starts, having to look at the schedule and everything. Bro, I mean, you play in basketball as well. There's no fantasy sport that's harder or more involved than baseball. It takes forever. You take a whole night to do your fab on Sundays.
Yeah, baseball is the most challenging. And I think That's why the popularity has gone down. People don't want to work. They don't want to put in the time. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. You have to know the player pool. That's why I love doing these 15-team, 50-round drafts. I mean, 750, 800 players. You load all the minor leaguers. I took Spencer Strider last year in my first draft Champions League in like round 40, and that turned out to be a phenomenal pick. So it puts you on to knowing everything about every team. And yeah, it's a lot of work. So I definitely think that it's a challenge, and I just feel like people don't want to put in time and work anymore. And I'm not saying fantasy football is easy. It's not. But you cannot tell me that fantasy football is more difficult than fantasy baseball. I play both sports. I don't have an allegiance to either one. I love both. I play both. But, fantasy baseball is a grind, man. You got to put in months of preparation. Spring training is important. It helped me get Carlos Rodon a couple years ago. I was not on him until the spring, seeing the velocity and the changes. So there's a lot of things you can discover in the spring. And this is the first real full spring training that we've had in years. Now, there is the WBC that is going to cut into it a little bit, and some guys will not be at camp. But the spring can help you discover. And again, you're talking about, even if you're in a 12-team league, I mean, you're probably going to have 23 to 30 roster spots. And then the 15-team leagues and the minor leagues, I mean, you got to know a lot. I mean, it takes a lot of skill to win a fantasy baseball title. We've seen it, right? You can have like an average player win a fantasy football league. Like, we've all been in leagues where like, yeah, this guy's not that good. He's probably going to win a championship at some point. Things break right. He has a great draft, picks up a player off the waiver wire. That's not happening in fantasy baseball, man. You do not see bad players win fantasy baseball championships. You just don't. It's a 6-month season. You can't afford to take a week or two off from Fab. You can't do it. Last year, say you took off the week where Taylor Ward was the big pickup. You lost a player that was a contributor most of the season. I know we had a couple of down periods, and Taylor Ward was a player I added in multiple leagues, but you can't take that time off. You can't afford to miss out. And, every little detail is important. So I know fantasy baseball is not as popular as it used to be, but I personally feel it's because people don't want to work hard. They just don't. Everyone wants the easy way out now. They want easy access. That's why people don't read anymore. They want a quick video. Fantasy baseball is a lot of work, trust me. But you know what? When you win a championship, it's really gratifying.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
Oh, boy.
Sometimes versus a good team, you'll see come playoff time, you got to have those guys. And what I mean by those guys is guys that's going to go get it. And Thomas went and got it. Foxy went and got it when we needed it most down the stretch. Malik went and got it. But we had to have guys go get it because their defense, you got to give their defense credit. They're good. But we still try to get downhill. We still try to finish the right way. We still try to spray three. But you take them how you can take them, especially on the road versus a good team like that.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
This King Coach Mike Brown right there, like the beam. The Sacramento Kings are 40-26. They're on a 3-game win streak. They've won 8 of their last 10. We know what they can put up offensively, over 121.
Damn it, man.
What happened?
Sengun is out, bro.
Yeah, I was just about to announce that.
Well, I have him and Kyrie Irving in my playoff matchup, both out now.
Oh, who are you playing?
Pup and Suds.
Okay.
I mean, I did pick up Green and Hardy for Dallas and no Kyrie and Luka, but now Sengun is out. This
Did anyone in our league, by the way, who is not in the playoffs, pick up players? Did they heed your note?
Yeah, they heed my advice. People listen to me, bro.
I know they do, but I was wondering if you knew how to turn.
I couldn't. I thought I did. Did I do it last year? Because I could not find the setting to do it this year.
I almost messaged you and was like, "Hey, man, just turn it off for the teams that are not in the playoffs."
I couldn't find that function on ESPN, but no one did. But now that sucks, man.
Yeah, I mean,
and now I'm waiting on Gobert. If he's out, then
game time decision. He was questionable all day. Now,
and I got Wagner tomorrow, who might not play. This is bad, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've been the best team all year, and now who knows? And Williams already got ruled out for tomorrow, who I have. I mean, they only have a 2-game week, so that's why I didn't go crazy on Richards and Fab. They have a 2-game week, so I was trying to get the guys. Like, Dallas plays 2 times in the next 3 days, so that's why I got Green and Hardy.
Yeah, I actually put him still out there. Taylor Horton Tucker who's still out there. Now, the Jazz only play 2 games this week, but
yeah, and the Knicks.
Right, but here's the thing with the Jazz. After this week, the rest of the 3 weeks remaining, they have a full slate of games. So
yeah, but you got to get past this week.
You do, but remember, not all leagues are as smart as our leagues, which have started their fantasy playoffs this week. I
think a lot do start this week, though.
Really, I would say again, I don't know how to track this, but I would bet that the majority of leagues that are head to head, their playoffs are next week. You and I are smart about it because we know that final week is a crapshoot in the NBA.
I mean, it's starting to be a crapshoot now, man, with all these guys sitting, man.
I mean, but what it does do is it gives us, look at the Pacers-Pistons matchup. How many guys are out for that one? For that one, what we have is Halliburton, Turner, Mathurin, McConnell out. You actually noted that in your value video up at fantasyalarm.com. Also,
posted?
What's that? It did, actually.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I made sure I checked into that. It did post there.
That's nice.
It did. Confirmed. It's up there. Now, Buddy Hield was questionable going in. He is going to be playing tonight from what we've seen. I'm waiting on a final confirmation for that. On the other side, no Ivy, no Bagley, no Bogdanovich, no Stewart, no Diallo, no Burks. So let me bring up this prop to get us started on the discussion. And this was intended to be my first play of the day. I bet it earlier there. And maybe this is my favorite prop of the night. What do you think about this, Roan? Isaiah Livers, who I know is in your value video, over 17.5 points plus rebounds, man. I mean, we've seen him grab a steady flow of boards for the most part in that 4 to 6 area. You're telling me with everybody out tonight that he can't score himself 12 points? I mean, I feel like that this number, very fair. It's minus 125. I got it at on DraftKings Sportsbook. Of all the bets that I've been looking at throughout the day, this one is my 1 seed, man. I'm very confident in that. I don't believe in the Pacers front court. Haven't all year. They're banged up too. And they have no choice but to go to Livers now.
Yeah, he's started 4 straight games. Bagley is going to be out too, so the minutes should be there. I think he played 38 last game. He had 18 points, 4 rebounds, and only shot 35% from the field. So he was 7 of 20. So the shot should be there. What is the line?
17.5.
Yeah, he's gone over in 3 of the last 4. It's fine. It's just I don't like betting on players like that, but the guy that I'm looking at now, because the lines weren't out earlier, is Isaiah Jackson.
Yes. Also in your value video.
Yeah. So he had 19 and 11 in 26 minutes last game against Detroit. And whenever he gets the opportunity to play, he tends to produce. And again, it's a good matchup. So let me see what it is here. We got points and rebounds for Isaiah Jackson, 19.5. It's pretty good, don't you think?
It's not bad. No, that's a very doable number. We know how bad Detroit is at defending bigs too. James Wiseman not going to change that. And like you noted, they just matched up.
So. Yeah, the Livers one is pretty good too, though. I mean, the minutes are going to be there, the production. I mean, It feels like everyone's on Killian Hayes today, which is very scary for me. He had 13 assists the other day in the same matchup. I think it's 7.5, 8.5 assists for him.
I saw it this morning, 7.5, but it was too juiced.
Way juiced up. It's probably 8.5 now on most books, which again, I'm not gonna play it. I hope he gets it since I am starting. I almost caught him the other day in my league.
Wow.
Yeah, and then good thing I did it. What I basically did is, so to me, last week's game didn't matter to me. So on Saturday, I had to make a decision early what to do with Jalen Williams because he was going to be active. I said, you know what? I'm just going to leave him in the IR spot because I don't have anyone to cut. And I knew a couple guys like Williams would have gone on IR and all that. So I just waited and it worked out. And by the way, too, yesterday, I didn't really bet much because I went to go see Impractical Jokers. But while I was eating something beforehand, I was like, wait, SGA's out? Let me check Jalen Williams. 25.5 points, rebounds, assists. Like, that's way too low. And I hammered that. So that was the only bet I played yesterday to cash.
You know what I did with that?
What?
I accidentally, because I placed the bet early, and then I said before the game was starting, I said, oh, no, I got to make sure I place this. I placed it twice.
Jalen Williams?
Yes, the
Yeah,
same
I mean,
prop twice.
I don't know how they didn't adjust that more, but whatever, I'll take it. And,
Dude, we're gonna keep playing that.
Whenever SGA is out, I'm playing that. But right now, Killian Hayes on DraftKings is over 7.5 assists, minus 190. It's 8.5 on other books, minus 114 on FanDuel, minus 130 on BetMGM. So I'm not going to play it. One of the plays that I would love today is Tyler Hero over 2.5 threes. Also gave it out Friday on PicksWise. It remains 2.5 threes. He's gone over this in 5 of the last 6, 13 of the last 18 home games. The Jazz allowed the 7th most three-pointers since the All-Star break. Hero shooting 43% from three-point range since the All-Star break. So I don't understand why it's still 2.5. You can get it minus 130 on DK. And if you want to do like a parlay, no problem putting the over 2.5 threes or 3 threes made for Hero in that tonight.
No worry about Lowry or anything like that.
No, he's coming off the bench.
Yep. Okay. What about and here's an assist prop I saw. It was very low. By the way, the Tyler Hero prop, I don't know if you all just saw, I wrote that down. Probably going to look to invest in that one tonight. I wrote it down on the list here. Marcus Smart, his assist prop was very low, was a little juiced up. I got it at minus 150. Normally it's a little too juicy for me, but it's at 4.5 his assists. And
see, the Boston game is going to be interesting. I think there's a lot of ways to go here. Obviously, against the Rockets,
you don't mind that line though, right?
I don't know. Yeah, man, I had Al Horford over 9.5 points the other day. He scored 9.
I was looking at him too.
Unbelievable. I think if you're going to look at him tonight, I think the one that you'd use is over 1.5 threes. It's juiced up. Jeez.
For Horford or for Smart?
Horford.
Okay.
Over 1.5 threes. The Rockets are terrible at defending threes. Tatum over 3.5 threes also. He's going to take a ton of shots. Again, it's a matter of can they keep the game kind of competitive.
I worry about that. That's why
you're getting plus money on over 3.5 threes for Tatum on every book except DK, which is minus 115. It's plus 100 to plus 106 on the other books. That's the thing. That's the tricky part with Boston tonight is, they have a lot of appealing props for these players, but how tight is the game going to be?
That's why
it's 4.5 assists for Smart. You said
4.5.
It's too close, man.
I know it's too close. He had 6 when he played them the last time, and again, I just think that because of just how bad they are at defending guards, Smart's going to have space. I know there's no Robert Williams in there. He could still operate an effective pick and roll with either Brown or Horford. I think that that's something that he'll be able to do tonight, and thinking that they'll be able to.
I mean, it's just that Tatum has the ball in his hands. Brown does.
I know he does. I know. I feel like if this was any higher, I probably wouldn't have given it some thought. But the 4.5 assists for him, again, in this matchup, he should be able to have a lot of space tonight.
I mean, the last time they played Houston, they won by 24. He played 29 minutes. So,
and he had
that game was at home. This game is in Houston, right?
This game is in Houston, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's juiced up for a 4.5 line, but
I mean, the line is 13.
That's what it is now. It's up to 13.
Mm-hmm.
It was hanging at 12 before. Trust me, I don't love it. That's why I thought this prop was, even though the return's not that great, I still think this is very doable for Marcus Smart.
The game that is very appealing tonight is the Timberwolves and the Hawks, and I don't have anything on this game yet, but I feel like I have to have something. I mean, Trae Young's in a good spot. His history against Minnesota is insane. His prop is 27.5 points. I don't mind that.
Campbell loves that too. The Ricky Props videos are out. And
points and assists is it's 37.5, and his PRA's probably 40.5.
37.
I mean,
you've gone over it. The 37.5 in the last, actually 2 of the last 3 games.
I feel like I want to play something on Trae Young, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's either that or we go back to Capella, but we'll have to wait to see.
I mean, he has a good matchup again, but I'm sick of this guy, bro.
I know, dude.
I'm sick of him.
I know.
I mean, if Gobert's out.
I mean, what do we do? Do we get? I mean, what are the lines on Capella right now? Because if they're going to
10.5 boards,
that's what he's at.
Let me see what. So Trae doesn't get a lot of rebounds, so that's the PRAs. But So he's had 48, 37, 38, 32. I mean, maybe the
Don't say John Collins.
He's been hitting threes lately too. 4 against Boston, 6 against Wild. Like he's been way better this month. He's been awful from 3 this year. 42.5% from 3 over the last 6 games. 2 of those against Miami. Damn, man. 13. Yeah, I want to play something in this game. I mean, on the Minnesota side, I guess you could look at Anthony Edwards, maybe Kyle Anderson, like assists. He's been pretty good there. Assists, rebounds.
John Collins is one of the worst defensive power forwards in the league. So what are his points at tonight?
For who?
Kyle Anderson.
11.5.
Oh,
his assists are 4.5.
Okay, I don't mind that. I like that a little bit more.
I mean, Gobert, we got to see if he plays.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Well. Kyle Anderson has had, they've been all over the map, but this is a matchup where he should excel. He's had 11 assists against the Nets, 39 minutes, then 2 against the Sixers, 9 against the Kings, 4 against the Lakers, 3 against the Clippers, then 5, 6, 8, 5. But this looks like a high-scoring, fast-paced matchup that should stay pretty competitive. So
I just bet it.
Which, the assist?
Yes, the Anderson assist.
Okay, I didn't talk myself into it yet.
I'm in. Look, fast-paced game. Their mid-court and front-court defense is absolutely atrocious. I get kind of a similar thought process with Marcus Smart. Anderson should have a lot of space tonight.
Damn, you with me on Isaiah Jackson, man? Like, you got to bet.
I'm debating it. I haven't gotten near him all year.
I mean, he's been really good, though, when he gets the opportunity. It's the same matchup. He just had 19 and 11. Like, he's going to start, right? He started the other day.
Yep.
Let me see I want to see what the line is on Bet365.
And while he's looking at that, I'm looking at the points rebounds for Capella as well.
You're going to go back to that clown?
I don't think so, but I just want to have the number in my mind in case Gobert's ruled out, and that number is raised to 26.5. All
right, it's minus 120 on both books, so I think I'm going to go Isaiah Jackson over points, rebounds, man. He's a guy that I drafted in the league this year, thinking that he might get time or Turner would get traded. It didn't happen. Obviously, I cut him early, but when this guy plays, man, he produces. He just had 19 and 11 against Detroit. All we need
you have the same thought process as I do with Livers.
All we need is 12 and 8.
Right, which he could do.
Yeah, or 10 and 10.
Bro,
I mean,
it's Detroit, man.
Yeah.
And they're hurt.
So I'm playing Isaiah Jackson over 19.5 points, rebounds. That is in the books.
I got another play here as well tonight in another game. What do you think about this? You kind of brought this up about a week or two ago, and I've been watching it ever since. Steph Curry and his rebounding. A lot more of those boards lately.
Dude, did you? I didn't get to watch a lot on Saturday. Did you see Curry's performance on Saturday?
No, I did. Oh, did I?
No, he had like 13 points going in the third quarter. And he just said in the fourth quarter, this game is mine, and overtime. Hit 6 threes, finished with 36. He had like 13 going into the fourth quarter. It was amazing, man.
What about his rebounds and assists at 10.5 tonight?
It's not bad. I mean, he's gone over it. It's close. I mean, you kind of want to get his points in there. Why don't you just play his PRAs then? Like, the guy is scoring, and this should be a tight game. It's a big game, actually. It's a pretty big game, man.
How's Chris Paul been overall? That's the one thing that stopped me with Chris Paul. I mean, can he and Devin Booker lock him down at all?
I mean, Golden State's the 6th seed right now.
Right.
And if the Clippers are not playing tonight, so if they win, they tie with the Clippers, and then they pick up a game on Phoenix. They're only 2.5 behind, so
they need home court.
Yeah, they definitely do. We know they don't play as well on the road. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like Curry and Booker tonight. Like, they're going to have big games. I know the lines are high.
They are.
What's Curry's points? 28.5. So his PRAs are 38.5. I mean, that's doable, man. I mean, he could score 30.
He could score 30. So let's see, 38.5. He's gone over it 1, 2, 3. He's gone over it in its last
3 straight.
Yes.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you're going to do rebounds and assists, you might as well throw in the points just because.
I already did the rebounds and assists.
Okay. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's just with the way he's scoring right now, and they kind of do need him. Like that's an interesting game. Like Devin Booker is someone I want to look at too. I know the lines are high.
Where is Andrew Wiggins?
I mean, who knows? I mean, we don't know what's going on, so I don't want to be
like, I'm not trying to hate on him. I'm legitimately.
I mean, he clearly has something serious going on.
Yeah, to not have. It's been weeks, man. It's been
again. We don't know what it is, but it's got to be something.
Okay. I really do hope he's okay.
It doesn't sound like it.
No, I just
doesn't sound like you want him to be okay. It sounds like a Jared Moore throw under the bus situation.
I didn't bring that up. You brought that up.
But I'm saying that's the way you sounded.
No, it's not the way I sounded. Number one. Okay. I'm not hating on Andrew. I'm legit concerned about him. Okay. Remember, Roan, and I have to sit with this here. Before the season began, the Warriors were my pick to repeat it as champs. I have to sit with that right now. They need Andrew Wiggins back.
Well, as long as you get him back for the playoffs, you're good.
Right, but I want him back a week or two before so he can just get that rust off.
Well, let's hope the guy is doing okay.
We're not all
instead of your pick.
Yeah, you know what? You're trying to make me out to be a bad guy, and
I'm not. You said it yourself.
No, well, listen. I'm rooting for the team. Number one. Number two, I'm rooting for him. This guy was hated on last year. He was the biggest, but maybe not the biggest. One of the three big reasons why the Warriors won a title. Andrew Wiggins. He locked up defensively. He did such on the offensive side. He carried his freaking weight last year. I just hope he's okay at this point. We'll continue talking about plays in the NBA. Also, want to hit up AB with some hockey plays. Very short slate tonight. Tomorrow, we're going to bring on our boy Josh Wagner from FantasyAlarm.com. Talk about some big slate hockey and also looking towards the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. But we're going to bring on AB and talk about a few more props that we're liking for tonight's NBA slate before we send you off to the Bettorcast, the Fork in the Road programming, the Bettorcast. Or you go to bettersports.com and check out Monday Night Rants with Ed Rouse. It's Fensty and Ronas here on Better Sports Network.
For sports. Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Better Sports Network. Moose and Keith. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Calvin Ridley yesterday, he applied for reinstatement from the National Football League.
Ridley, Kirk, Zay Jones, Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence. That is crazy potent on offense.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I mean, Ridley's great.
I think Trevor Lawrence is a guy I want in fantasy this year.
I think you're probably right. I think they're just going to get better and better. First off, Peterson's a wonderful offensive mind.
Yep.
A great head coach, and we've seen that and saw that this year as Jacksonville made it to the postseason. And Trevor Lawrence, anybody that questioned whether or not he could play in the National Football League or just how good he was going to be in the NFL, those questions were answered this past season as in the second half of the year. Statistically speaking, he was a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. That's how good Trevor Lawrence is. You throw Calvin Ridley into the mix, he's going to be great. Yeah, I think Lawrence is a guy you want. I think Ridley's a guy you want. Clearly, Travis Etienne is going to be one of those early first-round selections as well, being the dual-threat running back that he is, not only running, but also catching the ball out of the backfield, Keith, and the ability to take something small and take it to the house. Take a 5-yard dump pass, make a guy miss in the open field, and he's gone. I mean, you saw that with Travis Etienne this past season for Jacksonville. Yeah, sky's the limit. I mean, I think you're going to go from a team in the year span where you wanted no part of the Jacksonville Jaguars when you're looking at fantasy football to where you want as many Jaguars as you possibly can because they're going to be really, really productive. And let's see if they get their tight end back as well, who had
Evan Ingram was great.
And Evan Ingram, who was great this past season.
Yeah. I mean, if they keep that whole core together, their offense is going to be one of the best in football. Like, I legitimately think that they could be one of the best offenses in football.
Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, then you throw
Ridley,
Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence, a good offensive line, and you've got Doug Peterson being creative calling.
Right.
And you look at that division. The Colts are a mess.
Yep. Titans look like they're on the downslide.
Titans are on the downslide, right? That window is clearly closed. And then you got the Houston Texans.
Years away from relevancy.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacksonville could win 11 games next year.
Moose and Keith. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
The one. Melendez looks one. It's going to get down center field. Maldonado is in. Right behind him, Lindor. He'll score. What a moment for MJ Melendez.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Bettor Sports Network.
MJ Melendez and company from Puerto Rico will battle here in Fox Sports on those calls. You just heard him hit in 2 runs during the World Baseball Classic, and you can watch live WBC action and compete in our live Q&A contest on the Bettor Sports Network app. It's Israel at Puerto Rico on Bettorcast. Watch, play, and win prizes by answering predictive questions about the game while having fun chatting with our community in real time. Join us for Bettorcast on the Bettor Sports Network app tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Monday Night Rants will air on bettorsports.com and on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch at Bettor Network. Before we talk a little bit more NBA with all of you before sending you to the Bettorcast or Monday Night Rants, whatever tickles your fancy, let's go to our producer, AB the Resource, Adam Bernard. AB, you got a little hockey info for us here.
Yes, we do. There's only 3 games on the slate tonight, and 2 of them I'm looking at. Let's start with one of the 7:30 Eastern starts. The Colorado Avalanche are in Montreal. They're opening up a 4-game road trip, and while there is a trap game potential here with their next game in Toronto, 3 of Colorado's last 4 games have gone under. 3 of Montreal's last 4 have gone over. I don't want the total on that one. The Canadiens are on a 6-game losing streak heading into tonight, and despite Colorado's last game against Arizona being a tight 3-2 affair, Colorado tends to take care of business against bad teams. So you could look at the Avalanche minus a puck and a half, minus 113 on FanDuel. That's one of the ones I'm looking at for tonight.
What do you think, Roden? You gonna play some hockey bets soon enough, man? Dude, you were doing well with the live hockey betting in the playoffs last year.
No, I got 7 NBA games tonight. There's a lot here. We got.
Dude, what are you going to do in baseball? How are you going to juggle at completely reviewing and analyzing up until lock both baseball and basketball?
It's going to be tough.
We're going to have to work together on that, you and I, to figure out what the best props are going in. The playbook is going to just be a sea of props. I don't know how you and I are going to be able to keep it organized when you and I are talking about Pistons. No, by then there will be the playoffs. So Bucks versus whoever, and all of a sudden a random injury note, impactful injury note comes out about the Rays. How are we going to keep things organized, man?
It's not going to be easy, man.
No, not at all. Not by a long shot. AB, anything else that you like tonight?
Dallas, Seattle, and this one will actually irk you guys a little bit because just like the NBA where they do 2 straight games and with the same matchup in the same building, that's what we have here between the Stars and the Kraken. Dallas did win 4-3 on Saturday, which was the Kraken's 2nd straight loss after a 5-game winning streak. Despite the fact that Seattle has gone over in 3 straight and Dallas in 5 straight, when 2 teams see each other twice in a row, anecdotally, it tends to go the opposite of what the previous game went. So previous game went over. I expect a low-scoring game tonight. If you could get it with the hook at 6.5, it was minus 120 on BetMGM and FanDuel. I like that heading into tonight, and both teams are trotting out their aces. So,
AB, I'm going to put you on the spot here. I mean, who do you think is going to win? I mean, who do you see representing the West in the Stanley Cup final if you're looking at some of the top contending teams here?
I mean, it's Colorado gets healthy, it's them, and they're still waiting on one more guy to come back. I still think they're the odds-on favorite. Dallas, you could look at Vegas and LA. Those would probably be my top 4.
What happened to Calgary? Man, Calgary I felt like was very good. Josh Wagner used to talk with us, Ron, a lot about Calgary and how they could storm through the West. Ended up not really happening there. The Avalanche helping your boy out in the FSGA prop bets and futures draft, which you and Mr. Bender, Mr. Howard Bender, going to be a team once again representing the Fantasy Alarm crew.
Yes, hopefully we win again. We didn't win last year, but we did win it 2 years ago, I think.
Nice. I'll be participating in that one once again as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. We'll talk about what props we end up going in on this show too. Let's go back and talk about a little bit more basketball there. We thank you very much, AB, as always, for joining us and giving us some of your bets. Bernard does a great job producing our program there. Bernard, I don't know how we're going to be able to keep things organized once we have both basketball and baseball in session, but we're going to have to do yeoman's work to figure that conundrum out. For now, though, Roan, anything else you like on the NBA front tonight before we review some of the lines?
Tyus Jones over 7.5 assists, gone over in 3 of the last 4. Same matchup as the other day against Dallas, where he had 9 assists. A lot of potential assists, averaging 9 assists over the last 4 games. We know the defense for Dallas has been good since the All-Star break. So Tyus Jones over 7.5 assists.
Yeah, that should be no problem on that front. Memphis favored by 3.5 over Dallas here, 220.5 total on that game. Atlanta 5.5 point favorites over the Timberwolves, 240. We have 2 games with 244.5 totals there. That one that you mentioned before that you want to get involved with, Atlanta, Minnesota, and then Milwaukee, Sacramento. But here's the interesting thing, Ron, unless I've missed a piece of news here, we're still waiting on Giannis news, aren't we?
Yeah, I think if he's out, Brook Lopez absolutely balls out when Giannis is out. So it's 15.5 now on FanDuel, 16.5 on other books. So I think they play tomorrow too, though. So I could see him sitting tonight, and I believe they are on national TV tomorrow. Yeah, in Phoenix. So you would think that he probably sits one of the games. So probably would think he sits tonight, give him the extra day. Just a guess, but yeah, Brook Lopez would be really good. He's been going over his blocks, but it's juiced up. What are his blocks and steals? Blocks and steals over 2.5 at -105. He might get there on blocks alone. He's been crushing it.
What are the contenders for Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, I guess Portis also goes crazy. There's no props on Portis right now. So, yeah, I mean, that's a game. I mean, that's a single game parlay to look at. Bucks, Kings, Suns, Warriors, definitely ideal single game parlays. If you want to wait and do something later. I think it's a bonus. Points, rebounds is in play. So, yeah, I definitely want something there. Devin Booker, points and assists, 36.5. I like that. Yeah, I mean, those are the ideal games, man. Bucks, Kings.
Injury news, by the way, Christian Wood will be out tonight. And as we talked about before, Alperen Şengün also going to be out. So a couple of big men that are going to be out of their lineups.
I think, and I haven't played this, but I'm kind of eyeing a bounce back for Jaren Jackson. He's coming off the same matchup where he did not shoot the ball well. He was 25% from the field, which 3 of 12 in this matchup. And scored 14 points still because he was 8 of 9 from the free throw, 0 of 5 from 3-point range. I think his line is 20.5 points, and he had gone over that in 3 straight, obviously with no jaw and how shorthanded they are. And he's been pretty good he hasn't fouled out since February 12th. He has a couple games in there where he does have 5 fouls, but his minutes have been 33, 32, 31, 35, 31.
I'm seeing it at 19.5, by the way.
Where?
DraftKings.
What's the juice, though?
It is at -1. Let me see you again. -145.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him bouncing back, going over that. Bane, I liked Bane's assist, but they've pushed it up. I think it's 5.5 now because he's a guy that's been getting the assists lately with
Sure.
Look at the last few games: 8-6, 5-6, 0-6. So, just 3-pointers too. Is it only 2.5 still?
And Jones assists, by the way, which you talked about before. Jones, 10, 11, 3, 12 for Jones.
Yeah, man, he's been good. And
you should go over this, bro.
Yeah, and the one game that he didn't go over, they missed a lot of his potential assists have been like 14 over the last 4 games. The average, there's just a lot of opportunities there. And sometimes, obviously, when the shots don't go down, it could be difficult. But Yeah, I think I'm gonna place some more bets. Suns, Warriors, Bucks, Kings later. I don't know. Do I jump on the Brook Lopez now? Because that line's probably gonna go up if Giannis is out.
More often than not, I feel like lately when we've seen Giannis this late not have a ruling yet, he's probably going to be ruled out.
I don't think he plays. They play tomorrow, so my guess is they try and get him in tomorrow. I mean, look at Brook Lopez the last few games: blocks and steals. 5 blocks, 1 steal. 9 blocks, 1 steal. 3-1, 3-1. I mean, it's 4 straight games, and his points. He's averaging 21.3 in March. He's had 18, 26, 15, 26, 24, 19.
So which direction do you want to go with him?
I mean, look at the shot. He took 16 shots against Golden State, 20 against Brooklyn, 14, 14, 16. So with Giannis out, he's going to shoot more. Bobby Portis too, though, because Portis probably going to start. But again, there's no Bobby Portis lines that I see right now.
Right. And the Lopez 16.5, that's going to go up.
Yeah, because Portis the last how many games has Giannis missed in a row? 3? He didn't play against the Magic, right?
I don't think so.
So Portis' last 3 games, where he's played 30-plus minutes, 16 and 11, 28 and 13, 15 and 13. If we get that line, 24.5, 25.5 points, rebounds in this matchup.
Yeah, he'll get
so that's kind of what I'm kind of waiting on, looking at Lopez and Portis tonight. I think Sabonis for the Kings is a pretty good game. Points, rebounds, I think it's 30.5.
His points alone are at 18.5 at -145.
It's a big game for the Kings. They've been playing extremely well. They're the 2 seed in the West. Nice win against Phoenix. No one believes in them.
Right. Yeah, it's no one really does believe in them.
They're like, I don't know, 100-1 to win the title?
Yeah, I mean,
for
look,
a number 2 seed in the West.
We know that they can bring it offensively, but defensively is something that we question. But they bring a lot of heat on offense, man.
Trey Lyles has been playing very well for them lately.
Yeah, it's very interesting seeing him get the time. I find it funny that they can get him sufficient minutes too. It's very strange to see. Normally, like an injury replacement player, Trey Lyles.
I feel like I'm going to have some action later in these games.
Well, I bet the Brook Lopez points over 16.5.
16.5?
Yeah.
I mean, you could even get there if Giannis plays. I'd feel way better if Giannis doesn't play, though.
1,000%. Absolutely. Big pace up spot. Or not, you know what? Both these teams operate at a pretty quick pace. I mean, I think you're going to be seeing a nice swift back and forth. I'm just hoping that Brook Lopez isn't standing at the arc the entire time.
I think
the bonus.
Andrew Nembhard, too, 7.5 assists, not a bad play. I'm probably not going to do it since I already have Isaiah Jackson in that game, but I think that's not a bad play either. They have no one else to handle the ball.
No, they're out of options at this
McConnell's
point.
out, Halliburton's out, so we saw him the other day perform in this spot as well.
Yeah, no, we absolutely did. Let me make sure that there are no other crazy injuries here going into tonight.
Or I don't know what's better, the points, although I mean the assists or the points and assists for Nembhard.
I probably couple them together,
right? Because
makes more sense. He's on the ball.
I mean, I know he's had a couple games where he hasn't shot the ball well, but I mean, he had 27 the other day, 19 points, 8 assists, and he shot 6 of 15. So if he could just shoot a little bit better.
Bogdanovich is going to play, by the way, tonight. Yes,
he's not starting, though, right? I saw the starting lineup. He wasn't in it.
No, I don't think. Yeah, normally they bring him in off the bench.
And you talking for Atlanta?
Yeah, not Bojan. Bojan's out.
That's why I was like, wait a second.
Bojan is out. I'm wondering if they're going to rest Bojan for like the rest of the year. I'm starting to be curious about that. But see, this is why you end your fantasy basketball seasons before the last week. We're already dealing with the storm and the crap right now. Better Cast coming up next. We thank our producers, AB The Resource, Adam Bernard, Isaiah Groves. He's Rodas. I'm Fencing. We're back tomorrow. For now, we out.